Yeah, I heard that it's Indiana versus everybody. So I need everyone in the crowd to do a little chant with me. Hoosiers, 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 Hoosiers. All right, I love it, baby.
Welcome to Countdown to College Game Day, presented by Dr. Pepper, and happy Lee Corso Day for the first time ever. College Game Day has made its way to Bloomington, Indiana for the real thing. And you know why we're here. They win. Google them. The undefeated Hoosiers welcome their new Big Ten opponents, Washignton, to town, or as they like to call it, the Sig 10. We'll talk about that matchup and plenty more going down in the Week 9 college football season. It's lit out here. Squad rolling deep. We got Harry Lyles here, Harry Douglas here. I'm Christine WIlliamson, Bloomington, Indiana. I mean,
lit. Well, there's a lot of people that showed up at 4 p.m. yesterday, 11 p.m. last night. One more time from the crowd. The energy is infectious.
We love it. We love it. We love it. It's going to be a really good matchup today. Can't wait for that. We have so many other things to talk about in the college football world. Let's get it started. These two teams have not played each other in 21 years, but we've seen the job that Signetti has done here. How impressive has he been, Lyles?
Hey, I mean, look. It's been perfect so far. He has brought in a lot of guys that match his style, which is fiery, it's passionate, and they're guys that just want to play football. It wasn't, with this team and the way it was constructed, it wasn't a lot of guys that he brought in from Power 4 programs. It was guys that he brought up, including with him from James Madison, and it reflects out there on the field. And that's why this team is undefeated, and they're going to win today.
Now, let me tell you all about Coach Curt Signetti. In order to become a great leader, in order to be the fantastic coach that he is, you have to be a great learner and a great listener first. And when you look back at his past and some of the guys that he's been able to coach for, and some of the guys that he looks up to, number one, his father. Right? There's a reason why he's into coaching, and that's because of his father. Number two, a guy that's a co-worker with us, Nick Saban. When he was an assistant coach on that staff down in Alabama, won a national championship, coached Julio Jones in that wide receiver room. But then when he was at NC State, coaching under the great Chuck Amato, coaching Phillip Rivers, had his hands in Russell Wilson going to NC State. But then the job that he did at James Madison University. We talk about culture, going 11-1 last season. Culture is everything. And it has everyone in Bloomington, Indiana, believing not just in basketball, but also football.
I'm not going to lie, Signetti had one of the best quotes of all time with the Google Me. That was amazing. It was great. Let's talk about the quarterbacks really fast. Kurtis Rourke, he's out for the Hoosiers with a thumb injury, but Tayven Jackson played last week against Nebraska. What impressed you the most about his game?
Well, number one, it is kind of easy when you go into a ball game and you're up 28-7, but I like the phrase, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. And that was exactly what Jackson did. He came into the game, threw a 6-yard out, 15-yard gain. Next thing you know, he's making a fake to the running back, throws the ball to the wide receiver in the flat, touchdown. He led 4 touchdown drives, and the play I love the most was a touchdown pass to Surratt on the fade ball. Beautiful ball where only his wide receiver can catch it, but I gotta also give a lot of credit to his offensive coordinator, Mike Shanahan.
That's right.
When you're able to have your head guy call plays for you in the manner that where he understands where you thrive, get the ball out of his hands quickly, don't hold the football too long. They were able to have extreme success. Shout out to them.
And a lot of teams talk about having the next man up, but not a lot execute it well. This Indiana team has executed it well.
All right, so the thing that we love about October is the October surprise. It has its roots in the election cycle, but this last Saturday in October, it's fitting because we have 3 big games that very few people would have picked to be big games at the start of the season. The Irish have bounced back from their early season loss to Northern Illinois, but now find themselves having to go on the road to play an undefeated Navy, who along with the Army are both undefeated this deep into the season for the first time since 1945. It's been a minute. Another matchup that's going down today. Texas at Vandy. Now, Texas being in the top 5 was expected, but Vanderbilt being a top 25 team team was not. Even more surprising was Vandy pulling off the upset at home over Alabama. It's the Longhorns' turn now to see if they can avoid an October surprise on the road. And finally, number 8 LSU at number 14 Texas A&M. Both of these teams lost their first game of the season, but have been on a roll, going undefeated since then. LSU and Texas A&M find themselves alone atop the SEC standings, something I don't think anyone saw coming, and the winner of this one will be the lone undefeated team in SEC play.
Right.
Obviously, I think the team that wins this game vaults into the national spotlight as the front runner to win the SEC.
I mean, we're aggressive. The mentality we play, I mean, we're looking to destroy somebody every single play. When we hit you, we're going to make sure you feel it.
Yeah, I think we got to be physical. We got to control the line of scrimmage. I think they've really developed their pass rush as the years gone on. And if you want to win these games in the SEC, you got to win in the trenches.
There's Le'Veon Moss. A&M just keeps rolling.
You know, you've got to be able to control the running game. When you control the line of scrimmage, you control a lot of aspects of the game.
We're just going to play our brand of football, A&M football. We're going to run the ball. We're going to throw the ball. We're going to make them stop us, which they won't. Everything in the SEC is riding on this game, night game, blackout. It's going to be unreal.
All right, let's take a look at these games, starting with the top game of the week, LSU at Texas A&M. The home team has won each of the last 6 times these two teams have played, and according to the All-State Playoff Predictor, loser of this game has under a 25% chance of making the CFB. I said B, I meant P. HD, who has the edge tonight in this matchup?
For me, I'm going with LSU because, number one, I think they have the best offensive threats. When you look at the quarterback matchup, Garrett Nussmeier, what he's been able to do this season has been outstanding. Now, he has an opportunity to also move up his draft grade with a great game tonight. They play Alabama late in the year as well. But when I look at Kyron Lacey at the wide receiver position, also Aaron Anderson, and then you look at Caden Durham at the running back position, that offensive line for LSU, across the board, I think offensively they are better than Texas A&M.
I really appreciate how you guys just don't want to hear nothing but Indiana, right?
That too.
Anyway, look, with this Texas A&M team, this offense has been great ever since Connor Wigman came back. They've scored over 30 points in both their football games. I think the key here is going to be Le'Veon Moss and making sure that offense doesn't get negative yards against that LSU defense that has finally been more explosive as of late.
You mentioned the LSU defense. What kind of pressure can they put on Connor Wegman?
Well, there's 2 people particularly on the LSU defense. When you look at Swinson, who has 7 sacks right now, Savion Jones with 4.5. As a team collectively, they're top 6 in the country sacking a quarterback with 24. So if that Texas A&M offensive line isn't stout, it can be an ugly day for the Aggies.
Yeah, and that LSU defensive line specifically, and just that defense in general, did not bring a lot of the havoc. In fact, they're 10th in havoc rate in the country, which means they're causing disruptions. They're getting tackles for loss, things like that. They're finally doing that. Did not do that in the first few weeks, so the fact that we're finally at this place with them, I think this is going to be a great football game.
All right, let's talk about another matchup that's going down today. Number 12, Notre Dame at number 24, Navy. No booze for that one. There it is. The 97th meeting between Notre Dame and Navy, the Irish winners of 11 of the last 12 meetings, but Navy undefeated on the season. Notre Dame won this game last season in Dublin, 42-3, and they have one of the top rushing offenses in college football this season. What kind of chance do you give the midshipmen today?
Hey, we think Navy's going to beat Notre Dame today, don't we? Right, okay, that's what I thought. I just had to check. Look, if they get this offense humming the way that they have all season with Blake Horvath, who has one of the best QBRs in the country, it limits your offensive possessions. And when you're playing a service academy, you have to make sure that your offense does not get stagnant. We've seen that with Notre Dame this year, haven't we? Right? Sometimes they just can't move the damn football. So, yes, I think Navy has a great chance to get them today.
Well, I'll piggyback off the offensive unit for Notre Dame. You have to be able to sustain drives because we do know Navy is going to eat up the football. But when you look at Notre Dame defensively, you have to read your keys and play assignment football for 60 minutes. Not 24, not for 1/2, not for 3/4. I was watching film on the Navy shipment. Next thing you know, bad communication on the defensive ball in their last game. The next thing you know, it's a 46-yard touchdown pass to their running back. And once you get in that light and ram of things, if you're Notre Dame defensively, it can get ugly. But I'll tell you who has to be big. Has to be Howard Cross III. Has to be Riley Mills up front. Has to be Xavier Watts, who is an AP All-American. And also Jordan Clark, who's the son of our colleague Ryan Clark. They have to be phenomenal, reading their keys and playing assignment football versus Navy.
Big dogs.
They don't want no puppies.
No puppies at all.
Okay, that game is at 12 p.m. on ABC. Another matchup that we have our eye on, obviously, Texas at Vandy. We know how scary Vandy can be. One of the most surprising big games of the season. Texas headed to Vandy for a top 25 matchup. The Longhorns, of course, stunned at home last week against Georgia. It was bad. Vandy winners of 3 in a row, including the win over Alabama. HG, based off of what you saw Georgia do, what kind of shot does Vandy have to get their second home upset?
Well, they have one. Anytime you step out there on the football field and you're well coached and you do things that your coach asks you to do, you have an opportunity. We've seen Vandy this season versus Virginia Tech, when a lot of people had high hopes on Va Tech coming into the season, thinking they were going to contend in the ACC. First game of the year, they took them out. You look at the game versus Alabama, they took Missouri into 2 overtimes. So I like how well coached they are. They do a great job of exploiting their weaknesses against their opponent. So a lot of people say horns up. Them damn antennas better be up for the Longhorns today, or they're going to have their second loss.
100%. And I think the key to this game, HD, we know this Vanderbilt team's strength is passing. That Texas defense, the best thing that they do, I would argue, is that pass defense. And this is a team with a really damn good defensive line. So if they're able to pass the football, that's one thing, and that's good. However, this is also a Texas team that typically against opponents gets a lot of offensive possessions, and this Vanderbilt defense has been floppy because for a Alabama performance that they have in them, they also have a Georgia State, right? So usually they play up to their competition, but we've also seen them play down. So which one we're going to see today, we'll find out.
Has your opinion of Texas's defense changed at all after last week's game?
No, I think for me it's more so towards the offense. When you give up 7 sacks in a ball game last week versus the University of Georgia, you go 2 for 15 on third downs. You have 4 turnovers. Also, I didn't think Quinn Ewers or Arch Manning was prepared for the defensive front of the Georgia Bulldogs, nor certain coverages that Kirby Smart and that defense was running. I was more disappointed with the Texas offense than I was more so than their defense.
Yeah, same. It was an overall just shaky performance anyways. And I think, HG, the thing to me that was shocking, and maybe you could tell me why this is or why this happens, but for a team that has looked as complete as Texas has all season, they just seemed like so out of themselves in that football game. And I understand that it's a great opponent in Georgia, but they just seemed completely out of themselves and out of character. Is that a confidence thing?
Well, sometimes you can be complacent, right? You're ranked #1 in the country at the time. If you were Texas, you may have let your guard down a little bit. You see Georgia lose to Alabama. You see Georgia not be good versus Kentucky, and you may let your guard down a little bit. Well, my special team coach used to tell me before every accident, there are always warning signs. Well, the accident happened last week. How are you going to now face that adversity if you're Texas and come back from it so you can remain one of the top teams in the country?
And I feel like the worst thing they did for themselves, just one last thing, to put Arch in the game, excuse me, and now show that you are willing to be weak enough to relent to that when we already knew that Texas fan base wanted Arch in the first place. I think that has only made their season more difficult.
But I tell you, for Quinn, though, you can't worry about that. You have to understand, man, you came into the season a first-round candidate in the 2025 NFL Draft, a Heisman candidate as well. Go out there and play football, man. You've been playing football since you were a kid. Don't let you worrying about someone behind you make you and force you to make mistakes during the game.
That's one of the biggest things, I think, last week. One of the questions that I asked specifically about Arch and Quinn is the fact that Quinn had to see Arch perform at the level that he did. So then knowing that he's going into a big game, I wonder how much of a mental situation that is, because you know this guy can take my spot at any moment.
But I tell you, Christine, when you worry about the next guy behind you, then now you're in a situation where you're not putting forth 100% towards what you have to do.
Right, because you're overthinking
exactly.
Playing not to lose instead of to win. All right, time now for today's Crunch Time Players, brought to you by Cheez-It. Coach Prime has Colorado on a bit of a roll. They've won 4 of their last 5 and have a big home game tonight against Cincinnati. The Buffs have a chance to become bowl eligible for the first time since 2016 with a win. HG, what have you seen from Shador and Colorado's offense this season?
Listen, Shador, #1, he has the clutch gene in his system. He's the son of Deion Sanders, prime time. There's a reason why he's so clutch when it comes to certain moments in ball games. But the way he maneuvers the pocket, he can make every single throw on the football field. But I like his assertiveness and his aggressiveness towards his teammates, right? You've seen it with him and Travis Hunter, right? Hey, I threw you a fade, you didn't catch it. Travis Hunter told him to throw him another one. He's like, well, catch the first one. And then you seen last week a little conversation between him and his wide receiver. Hey, can you get open on a go route? I think I can. No, can you get open or not?
Right.
I like that assertiveness from the quarterback position. Most guys that I played for, that's how they were, and you got to be demanding from that position if you're going to have success in college, but also at the NFL level.
They're different over there. Travis Hunter, Coach Prime said he's feeling better, much better. And how much of an impact will he make on this game, and what side of the ball will he be needed more?
You know, I feel like both, which feels like cheating, but like I would argue though, and I mean, I guess you could say he's 1A, 1B with Shedeur on offense, but I just feel like he's the best player on both sides of the football for them when he's on the field. But that said, I do think, Ashton, you talked about the defense earlier. I think he adds more to that side of the ball and hides a lot of more of their shortcomings on that end than he does offensively, because I think Shedeur does a pretty good job of doing that himself, and they have other talented, skilled players. But to me, I think on the defensive end is where they really need him.
I'm selfish.
Okay.
I want to see him on offense. I want to see him on defense. And hell, if he can go over there and play special teams, I want to see him on special teams. Like, it's not every day, y'all, we get to see an extreme talent like Travis Hunter. Right? I think the last one was what? Chris Gamble, Champ Bailey, those guys.
Yeah.
So when you have a guy that's as talented as Travis Hunter, you go out there and let him play. He does a great job of taking care of his body. He's in shape. He's a premier player. He's the guy that could be taken #1 overall if the team that's sitting there don't need a quarterback. So you let him play where he can help you the most, and I think that's both sides of the ball for Colorado.
So you mentioned the defense and how you want him to play equally on both sides of the ball, but their defense has been pretty impressive this year. How have they been able to turn things around?
To me, it looks like a lot of fundamentals, to be honest with you. I mean, like, look, schematically speaking, I'm not the biggest brain in the room, okay? Like, we just being real. But I know when I see good tackling, I know when I see good energy, and it feels like that has been up for this Colorado team. And this is a team, you know, we talk a lot about Travis Hunter, and we talk a lot about Shedeur Sanders. There's 20 other guys on both sides of the football here that have to go out there and represent the University of Colorado. So to me, I think that you've seen a different confidence about this team, especially as the season has progressed. And I think they shook a lot of that HC after that Nebraska game.
Well, let me make it simple for everybody. See ball, get ball. Yeah. Same foot, same shoulder when you're tackling. Yeah. We don't need guys to be a hero and do spectacular things. Just do your damn job. And I think that's what we're seeing from Colorado this season compared to what we've seen in 2023.
You got to stay up late for that one at 10:15 p.m. tonight on ESPN. All right, while you were sleeping last night, there was another football game.
Who was asleep?
I was asleep. Actually, no, I wasn't. I was
watching that.
Ashton, Jeanty, and Boise State took on UNLV. UNLV grabbed the lead late in the third on a 34-yard Jaden Bradley touchdown. But Jeanty and the Broncos would not be denied. He gets it down for a 4th and goal. If you've got Heisman front runner, you got to go for it, right? He pushes it in across the goal line to give the Broncos a 27-24 lead. He'd come through clutch again late on another 4th and short conversion to put the game away, 27-24. Now Boise stays in the mix for the CFP. As we welcome in our friend Jen Lada. Good morning. How you feeling?
Good. A little chilly.
It is chilly. It is. And it's out of nowhere, right? I feel like it was just like hot yesterday.
It's going to be warm later today, but right now,
yeah, exactly. Okay, so you see this, right? Ashton Jeanty stands like Michael Myers in the backfield, so they have this little comparison. He's scary. He's scary. I wouldn't want to see that. So we're going to talk about some of the scariest players in college football. Do you think that he is the scariest player in college football?
Man, he's got to be up there. What he can do on the football field, guys, like the fact that he at Boise State is in the Heisman conversation, and not just in it like, oh, that's cute.
Right.
No, but like leading the odds right now. I mean, he's very scary, but there's a ton of other players who deserve some love. I feel like we talk about Jeanty a lot, deservedly so, guys, but who else do you guys think are some of the scariest guys in the league?
Well, I'll go. For me, number one, I'm going to go Cal Kennard, defensive end at South Carolina. The way he wrecked the game versus LSU. You look at what he was able to do versus Alabama, even though they lost that game, and also Kentucky. 8.5 sacks right now, 4th in the country. Not only can he play the pass, but he can also play the run game very stout. Reminds me a lot of Aiden Hutchinson that plays for the Detroit Lions right now. And then secondly, for me, I have quarterback at the University of Miami, Cam Ward. Cam Ward right now is leading the country in pass yards, but he's also had over 300 pass yards in every game and at least 2 touchdowns. He is so cool, calm, and collected. That's why he's a Heisman favorite right now, I would say, but also a guy that's going to be drafted high in the 2025 NFL draft.
Now, I got a couple of guys that I got the chance to see in person on Thursdays. You don't do the Thursday games.
Oh, yeah.
The first one being Bryson Daly, quarterback at Army. Hey, man, that's a tough SOB. Like, that dude has that offense humming. When we talked with Jeff Monken earlier this year, he said that this entire team has taken on the personality of the offensive line, both in terms of their character, but also their physicality. That dude is an absolute wrecking ball. One of the toughest guys that I think I've ever watched in person. You see that 909 rush yards, 3rd in FBS. Absolute beast. I really hope we get this Army-Navy matchup, not just in the AAC, but obviously we're going to see them at the end of the year. And then another one that I saw a couple of weeks ago, Antoine Powell-Ryland, we call him APR, from Virginia Tech. Oh my gosh, guys, I love Tommy Castellanos from Virginia Tech. He's a great quarterback, really fun to watch. Glimmers of Kyler Murray, but my goodness gracious, look at it. Boom! Ate that boy up. It was so bad, man. I think Mel Kiper's got him, I think, 5th. As his 5th edge rusher for the upcoming NFL draft. I would take that guy higher than that. That is an absolute madman, and he fits obviously everything that we've seen from that Virginia Tech team in the past in the Beamers.
Who do you have,
These are all really, really good players, and they all are deserving of scariest, but I feel like we forgot. Just because Alabama lost a game, we forgot about the 17-year-old, the guy who is going to wreak havoc on the SEC for as long as he is down there at Bama, and that is Ryan Williams. Guys, that move, that 75-yard touchdown with the spin and the body control, and he's so young, right? Like you guys know, that stuff grows the older you get. He's going to get better and better. We're watching it right now. Just whoop, see ya. I'm a huge fan of Ryan Williams. His 20.9 yards per reception are incredible. So he's averaging like 21 yards per reception, and he is 3rd in the SEC in 92.7 yards per game. But I got to go with the hometown guy also, guys. When you talk about scary players, can we please give it up for the injured quarterback? I know he's injured. He's got the thumb injury. But Kurtis Rourke from Indiana, guys, what he has been doing out there has been unreal. And obviously leading this team with Kirk Cignetti at the helm to this undefeated record. But he is leading the league right now, guys. 188.7. He has the top rating in FBS. And the best news for this Indiana program, guys, Pete Thamel told us that thumb injury probably only going to keep him out for 1 game. Wow. So he's going to be back next week, most likely, and that should scare the entire Big Ten.
That's going to be huge for them. I feel like we should have mentioned one guy that we talked about earlier.
Who is that guy?
Travis Hunter.
Okay, you're right.
Yeah.
Because he plays on both sides of the ball. So he's scary for the offense, and he's also scary for the opposing
defense. Did we maybe just hit our Travis Hunter quota? Maybe we already hit the mention.
We've already said it enough times.
Because we're only allowed to say it so many times.
Today. This guy is scary. He's going to be scary as he goes into the NFL. As HD mentioned, he could be the #1 overall pick. He's a Heisman frontrunner. So he is also one of the scariest guys in college football this season. All right, Jen, did you expect the Hoosiers to show up like this?
I got to be honest. I never expected to be as crazy and as loud and as raucous and as big as it is on game day morning. But when you're an undefeated team and you're like planning a championship, a Big Ten championship, you show up. There's a sellout in there today against Washington. There's a few more sellouts for the rest of the season.
Right.
This is a program, guys, that has had 3 winning seasons since 1995. They're hungry for this.
Sure. I like that they're calling it the Sig 10. Welcome to the Sig 10. A warm welcome for Washington. Okay, time now for Fansville Advantage, presented by Dr. Pepper. This is when we look ahead to next week. There are massive games next week in Happy Valley. Our 3rd top 5 game this season, and Ohio State has already picked up 1 loss on the road in a tough environment. What kind of challenge will Drew Aller and the #3 Penn
with this new offensive coordinator is incredible. I did a feature on him last year. Great kid, nice kid, really wanted him to have success, and they just didn't, right? They always kind of didn't show up in the big games, but they are running motion now at the 10th highest rate in FBS with this new offensive coordinator. He is taking more shots downfield, and his QBR against pressure guys has improved by 40 points from last season. So he is handling the blitz better. He is handling pressure better. And of course, we know motion contributes to that, right? You get a guy in motion, the defense tells on itself. Are you in man? Are you in zone? And Drew Allard it's easier for him to read that defense and make the correct play.
Yeah, I think also when you have shifts in motions, it just gives that defense one more thing to think about before the ball is snapped. It also creates better angles for the offensive line and tight ends to be able to block in the run game. So Andy Kotelnicki has done a great job. I think also when you look at tight end Tyler Warren, he is leading them in receiving yards right now. Whenever you have a guy that can snap the football and then next thing you know he's catching a touchdown pass, that means your offensive coordinator is doing his job in a great way.
And that tight end is lining up in a bunch of different spots, right? It's not just on the end of the offensive line where you see a lot of these tight ends line up.
Yeah, to me, the big difference has just been the fact that they have explosives on offense now. You mentioned the number. They've always been able to defend. No one's ever questioned that. They've always been able to do that. But the fact that they can actually get the football down the field, I think finally, Penn State, you guys are going to get out that third place, aren't we? We're finally going to get in the playoffs.
All right, so Penn State, they need to take care of business today before they focus on the matchup next week. This is Wisconsin today. Is there any potential for an upset there?
I mean, it's at Camp Randall, right? Wisconsin, they play tough there. Their new quarterback, Van Dyke went out with the injury against Alabama. He really hasn't missed a stride. They've actually been better with him under, if that's believable. And he's got a quick release. So you guys talk about Penn State defense, and that's a strength of theirs, their ability to pressure the quarterback. But the quarterback for Wisconsin has been getting rid of the ball very quickly. So you even need to be a step faster than you've been to get him rattled.
I would say this about Penn State. Don't look ahead at the game versus Ohio State before you handle business against Wisconsin.
Trap game? Little trap game action?
Little trap.
Yeah, without a doubt. Especially because that game's at night, too. Like, Camp Randall's one thing a day. With that night atmosphere, people have been sitting around all day doing whatever it is that they may do.
Jump around.
Getting greased up, as we say.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about the other side of that matchup for Ohio State. What do they need to do to clean up from that L that they took?
Yeah, I would say this. Versus Oregon, they had a bye week, so they had an entire week to work on what they didn't do well. Too many penalties, number one. They turned the football over. Quinshon Judkins early on in that ball game turned it over, kind of sparked Oregon a little bit. But I think also situational football was bad by Ryan Day.
There it is.
Like, and that's your job as a head coach, is make sure situational football is intact with your ball club. So hopefully they're working on those things now because it came up huge in that game versus Oregon. We talk about a kickoff that Oregon had. Hey, surprise onside, and Ohio State isn't ready for it. Gave Oregon another possession. But I would say lastly, Denzel Burt got picked on. He became the fish versus Oregon in that matchup. Listen, I'm telling you, Andy Kotelnicki next week, he can be a guy that's picked on next week as well versus Penn State. Denzel Burt, who's supposed to be a first-round draft pick, his draft grade went down 2 weeks ago from that game versus Oregon.
It feels like the circumstances are just right for Penn State to do the right thing here.
Yeah.
Which also makes me feel like there's going to be a letdown.
I saw that. Thanks.
So just imagine, you mentioned the bye week, right? And usually that's a good thing because you can prepare. But that means they had to sit with it.
Yeah.
And you just sit. And all week people are talking about, Dan Lanning, the genius of Dan Lanning, putting those 12 guys out. That had to eat at Ryan Day and company. And so I think they're going to come out real motivated. In Wisconsin, Matt LaFleur, the head coach of the Green Bay Packers, talks about having your piss hot. Your piss hot. I want to make sure I got that for you all out there. I think Ohio State is going to be running that offense, that sort of play when they take the field.
Yep. It'll be a good matchup for sure. Jen Lada, thank you so much for joining us.
This is amazing.
I know,
it's going to be a great day. The crowd is already fired up. We saw them lining up on this street right out here when we left the stadium last night at 4:30.
Right. That's insane. Wow. It's insane. These people are crazy. We love it. We love Jen as well. Thank you so much, Jen. All right, let's take a look at some of the other matchups that are going down on this college football Saturday, starting with Nebraska at Ohio State. We mentioned it. They take on Nebraska today. That game's at noon in the shoe.
Well, I would say this, number one, if you're Ohio State, understand that this is a copycat league when you look at college football. So some of the things that Nebraska's seen Oregon have success with, they're going to try to mimic those things today. Make sure your secondary is on point. Make sure your defensive line is getting to the quarterback. Do not look ahead to Penn State because it's hard to have that be a top 5 matchup if you don't get through Nebraska first.
All right, another matchup. The Oregon Ducks, the top team in the country, host number 20, Illinois today at 3:30 p.m.
Hey, if there was a team, to me, this game is placed perfectly on the schedule because Oregon just got their big win against Ohio State that we were talking about, but this Illinois team is equipped for an upset. However, it already feels like Oregon had their slippery slope during the early portion of the season. HD, we saw how, those first few games, they didn't come out quite strong. Felt like they could have lost against Boise State. If Illinois can get it done, it has to happen today.
All right, this is a make-or-break game for the Wolverines against the rival Spartans tonight. What are you looking at, HD?
Well, number one, 2 of our producers, Chris Cologne and also Shelby. Cologne is an alum of Michigan. Shelby is an alum of Michigan State. There's a lot of hate in the control room back in Bristol, Connecticut. Then number 2, you talk about the Paul Bunyan Trophy. Who is going to be able to win that? If you're Michigan, stop the bleeding. You already have 3 losses. You're coming off a national championship. Do not lose to your in-state rival in Michigan State. There are 2 games that are very, very important to the Michigan Wolverines. This game and the game versus the Ohio State Buckeyes.
That's right.
All right, BYU gets their perfect season put to the test on the road against UCF, where they are the Dogs. What are you thinking?
Ooh, hey, this BYU run defense, there is a lot of skill, talent on the UCF side since they made their quarterback switch. They have finally looked a little bit more like we expected. I'm kind of surprised UCF is favored in this one. Jake Retzlaff going to have to protect the football against this UCF defense that at times has been explosive and disruptive, at other times has not been. I think this is going to be one of the best games that we see today.
And finally, Alabama has 2 losses this season. It's a must-win game for Kalen DeVore, who haven't had a 3-loss season since 2010.
Yeah, what sucks about this matchup is that running back from Missouri, Nate Noel, is not going to be playing in that ball game. That's a major loss for them. But also, if you're Alabama, man, you got to figure out how you can get a victory, get a win. You cannot afford another loss right now at this juncture in the season.
Yeah, that would be really bad because Alabama don't be losing like that. Alabama fans are probably mad.
Hey.
They want Kalen DeVore out right now. All right, let's talk about this matchup a little bit more. We have some special guests to join us for this conversation.
We do.
The Indiana basketball team.
Come on, players.
You guys come on through. Come on through. Just making everybody feel short. Trey Galloway, hello, how are you?
Gotta get on my tippy toes, bro.
I feel like we gotta squeeze in. You guys come over here too. Come over here. Come over here. Does everybody want to introduce yourselves? Trey, you start us off. Trey Galloway. You're the one with the mic. You gotta.
Miles Rice. Lou Goody. Gabe Cups.
Malik Renew.
I'm Jaden Bobbitt.
Anthony Leal.
All right, amazing. So we're here for game day. This is the first time that we've really been here for college game day for football. Is this a football school?
Choose your words wisely.
No, it's awesome. It's both. I mean, we got a lot of great sports, but I mean, this is incredible atmosphere. We're very excited for our football team. It's great.
How you guys feeling? How you guys feeling about game day and the turnout today?
Super excited for the football team. It's been a huge change for Coach Siggs and them, so I'm just super excited to see how they go and how they go from here on out.
So I got to tell y'all this, though. This one right here, Jaden Bobbitt, me and his father are best friends. I've known Jaden since he was a baby.
Come on,
literally a baby. So to see him thriving now in life, it just puts a smile on my face. It really does.
That's amazing. Did you remember? You know HD well?
Yeah. So we used to play basketball. So I used to play Harry one-on-one back in the day, and I used to beat him every single time. He could never guard me. It was bad. It got bad. It got real bad. But then, he beat me here and there. He gets some basketball genes from his brother, so not too bad.
How young were you when you were beating him?
I think I was probably like 5 or 6 years old. Yeah.
Is that true? You gotta let him win, man. You gotta give him confidence. Give him confidence.
I mean, I guess.
I will ask y'all this, though. How excited are you guys about the season. I know you guys have a scrimmage on Sunday versus Tennessee. You're ranked 17th in the country. I think Tennessee is 12th or 13th in the country. What are you looking forward to in that matchup?
Just to see how our team comes together. You know, we've been practicing together and been bodying each other every single day in practice. So we just want to go out and compete against other people and show them what we're capable of.
Real quick before we got to get out of here. Easier for basketball players to play football or football players to play basketball? We did it on the network.
Play football. Basketball play football.
I agree. More skill. More skill.
That's insane.
More skill.
I don't know. I actually kind of agree with you. I'm not gonna lie. You want to say something?
It's way easier for basketball players to play football, for sure.
Oh, wow.
100%.
That's why he was beating you. Hello.
Okay.
All right. So you guys obviously have Indiana winning this matchup. Indiana winning this matchup today.
For sure. I got Indiana today. 100%.
Thank you guys for joining us, and thank you guys for watching Countdown to College Game Day.
Hey, wait a minute. I got to make my game pick. I'm going Indiana. Let me get that.
I forgot. Y'all want to cross?
We're getting up in there.
Yeah.
I got to ditch my mic.
Where you going?
That's got to go.
Can we go out there too?
They're insane. They've lost their minds. Yeah, I said you could go do it. Yeah, go.